हाथ घुमाकर करते हैं प्रहार, व्यर्थ ना जाए इनका कोई भी वार। प्रतिद्वंदी खाता है मार, फैंस कहते हैं वंस मोर, बार बार। रात हो या दिन, जब बॉल का नाम हो ऑफ स्पिन, सभी बोलेंगे अश्विन अश्विन। म्यूचुअल फंड सही है प्रेजेंट्स बैट एंड बॉल। Thank you so much, Ashwin, for joining me here. We call it Bat and Bowl. So we'll sit and we'll talk. Ashwin started as a bowler here, as a batsman, and then turned into a world-class bowler. I mean, how did that happen? Because it doesn't happen as well as it has happened in your case, Ash.
See, look, actually, I was there at the under-17 NCA camp in Bangalore back in 2003-4, and what happened was I was doing really well as a batter. I played for under-17 India in the previous season, and then moved on. I was making runs, and all of a sudden, they made me the captain of one of the teams, and we were really struggling at the Chinnaswamy B ground. I think you must be knowing it was a B ground before now, which has become into an academy. So we were playing a game, and there were some cracks that were developing on the pitch. So I started to bowl. And I picked up about 7 wickets in that game. Okay. And after I picked up those 7 wickets, a lot of coaches came up to me and said, "Look, we've been watching you bowl in the nets and all that, but this is just an assurance that you can be a good enough bowler. So I think you should focus a lot more. You can be an all-rounder of sorts." I go back home and I make my Premier Club cricket debut. And again, a similar situation arises in the first game. I make about 40-50 runs in a game, but the bowlers are struggling. So I end up bowling. And all of a sudden, I start getting noticed as a bowler. Right. And that year, I make a lot of runs. And Diwakar Vasu, I'm sure you must have played some cricket with him. He had come to watch one of those games, and he offered another contract with another club side the next year. Okay. So as I went there, all of a sudden they told me, "No, we are looking at you as an off spinner, not necessarily as a batsman." Right. So it was like kind of shocking. And then what I realized though was, because I had been a batter all along in my life, whenever I bowled, I thought as a batter. What would a batter be doing? What would his reaction to this would be? What would I do if I was in the position of a batter? So I started enjoying bowling. I started double guessing the batsman and all that. I kind of enjoyed it, and for me, I find bowling very therapeutic, and I kind of enjoy it a lot. And that's one of the reasons I think I became quite successful.
Batting was of course the first skill, then bowling came in, and then two must have been almost at par with each other, and then one started going to the next level. Batting did get affected, right? Because it's not possible to do two things to the same skill level, devoting enough time, because that's why it is difficult to be an all-rounder, right?
See, I think it was not quite the case, because I enjoyed batting a lot, and I got noticed because I made a lot of runs and picked up a lot of wickets in club cricket. And I hold a record along with Sharad for scoring 500s on the trot in club cricket. So, and that's how I got noticed. I had a 1,000-run season. I picked up 70 wickets, and that's how I got into the limelight. When I started to play the IPL, I realized all of a sudden the game was different. You needed a lot more power hitting. You needed to hit those sixes. Whereas my dad and my coaches always taught me to play along the ground. Lifting the ball was such a crime in the nets and all that. So for me, I realized that I need to upscale my batting here, but my bowling was already there, because between about the age of 18 to let's say 22, I think I would have bowled 5 hours a day, like 6 times a week. So it was not very arduous for me. I totally enjoyed it, and it was not like if you see a lot of people, they say, "Bhai, thoda mehnat karna hai, mehnat karo." It was not that sorts, It was more like completely enjoying my trade, enjoying being a bowler, and I think that really paid off, because I didn't have any expectations out of what I was doing. I kind of enjoyed it.
Sahi hai. became a bowler, did you ever envisage that you would be one of the biggest match winners that India has ever seen in Test match cricket? Because the number of Man of the Match awards, the number of Man of the Series awards, people who have played a lot more than you, or maybe twice as much or thrice as much, have not managed those kind of numbers. Did you ever think that, you know, me turning from batsman to a bowler will end up making me who I am today?
Look, I feel the want for being excellent or the want for being the best on a particular day comes with me as a package, because I cannot. What happened was a very interesting story, Akash. I was doing my engineering, and my college was about 40 kilometers from my home. And if I had to come back from my college for practice, that will be another 40-45 kilometers. And there was no bus. I used to travel on a vegetable lorry and get back to the city and then go for practice. And it was really hard, yeah. And my lunch used to be like cup noodles and all that sort of stuff. No fancy idea of what. I mean, you just needed to put what you had to put in. And one of those days where we had a club game, I played three-day games, and I went back to college on Tuesday. I remember that, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I went back to college on Tuesday. So I took my record and observation, and I gave it to my mechanical engineering staff. That was my first year of engineering, and he just threw it on my face and said, "You know what? You haven't come for the lab class yesterday, and I will not be able to sign your record today. If you want to play cricket, you better stay on the ground." And I was like, I just held on to my record. I was outside the class for about 2 hours, and they didn't call me in at all. And eventually the head of the department came and said, you know, this is really hard, and this is why we don't encourage cricketers to take up engineering. And if you do need to do engineering, you need to be an entire professional here. You have to do this or do that. But for me, I had traveled the distance, yeah, because college, like getting an engineering entrance at that time, the entrance was delayed. So I didn't have a choice. And being from a South Indian family, and education was very important. I can't go back home and turn on my parents and say, you know what, I would like to discontinue. So I thought this journey it happened for the next 4 years with different people, but the instances were the same. So every time I went back to the ground, I had this realization dawn upon me that, you know, I cannot turn back. I've traveled too far, and I cannot turn back on anyone or turn back on myself for that matter. So it sort of like inadvertently made me think I need to make every minute on the ground count. So I think that sort of changed my life in a big way.
The number of wickets, the bag full of wickets, truck full of wickets. How do you react to when people say, you know, pitches are like this, players are playing a certain way now, and things are a lot different? Do you feel slighted because everybody is actually on the same field, bowling to the same batsman with the same techniques? Ashwin walks away with 12 wickets, others get 2, 3, 5, and there are about 4 or 5 spinners more playing in the same game itself. How do you react to that?
See, I mean, I wouldn't react any differently, because it's happened, right? Even in the Adelaide Test that we played in 2018-19, if I'm not wrong, Nathan Lyon walked away in the game of getting a 5-for. He got a 6-wicket. He got a 6-wicket haul in the second innings, whereas I ended up with 6 wickets in the match. He got 2 wickets more than me in the game. And there was this whole sound around, you know, Nathan Lyon picked up a 6-wicket haul and all that. But I don't think like that. Sometimes, you know, you need to be bowling at the right times in a game to be able to be picking those wickets.
So how do you pick so many wickets? One is of course planning. See, planning, obviously bowling. You do it yourself, or you sit with the bowling coach and then the captain is also involved and he says, "Bas kar Ash, you do it yourself. Yeah, you'll get people out any which way. Leave us alone." Or it's just you just going through algorithms and figuring out what works when artificial intelligence, machine learning, and
It's not any of those rocket sciences, Akash. I think it's my. I would say it's just an accident that's happened between me and the game. I personally feel I connect very deeply with the game in the sense that if you allow me to watch the game, I will just not watch the game for its scoreline or for its beauty of someone batting really well. I don't go and pester captains. Even from the start of the day, MS Dhoni was, I would say, phenomenal with this aspect. He gave me a lot of freedom, and I believe every fielder, every bowler should captain themselves on the field, because I somehow feel a lot of captains do not quite get what a bowler is going to attempt. At times, even as a captain in the IPL, I've realized that you don't know what's going through the bowler's head. So if you can control your space, and if you can put fielders according to your plans and according to what you think the batsman's going to do, I think you stand a good chance of succeeding, right? And that's essentially the reason behind me watching a lot of videos. I don't want to be caught unaware in a game. I don't want to, tomorrow walk in and not know that AB will, reverse sweep, or Glenn Maxwell will reverse sweep. I'll be watching everything, even the net practices. If I get glimpses of what they do, I'll watch all of them, and I'll see if I can, get that advantage, or let's say an early mover advantage into something.
Tell me something, Ash, when overseas fast bowlers come to India or they come to the subcontinent, they're rarely judged. They're not judged. They're not judged on the performances or the number of wickets, their strike rate, their averages in India or in the subcontinent. And it's accepted because conditions are not conducive for fast bowling is what everybody believes. But the moment Indian spinners, especially when they travel overseas, and you've had a fair stick for that as well, that they're always judged on the basis of South Africa, England, New Zealand, Australia. Oh, what are the numbers? Have they won us a lot of games? But that doesn't happen. So, where are we missing? Is it unfair? Is it fair? Where do you stand on that?
Look, Akash, if I have to be blunt and put it across in a very still put it across in the best diplomatic fashion that I can put it across. If you look at an overseas fast bowler traveling here, I mean, exception someone I've seen is Kale Steyn, who came and did exceptionally well with reverse swing obviously in play, and I feel when they come together as a pack, there is a certain amount of acceptance in them about what each one's role is. And I think when we travel abroad, there is a far better understanding now, I would say, in terms of the fast bowlers having to do the bulk of the work, and they are delivering. And this is probably the best attack that I have seen India ever have. But I just think there are a billion Indians competing for one spot, Akash. So whenever we do find someone going through hard yards or hard yards in international cricket, especially from our country, we know there is like 3-4 people who could do better than you in that particular position, right? So I think it's more about us being very pessimistic in our attitude, wanting to find faults with people, rather than trying to have a very excellence-oriented situation where you're trying to help each other out. It doesn't happen that way with us. I think that's one culture. I don't think it's a cricketing thing that is being spoken here. I think it's more our culture, the Indianness to the thing where we constantly, it's like basically saying the neighbor's son is getting 99, why are you getting 97 in any exam? So it's like that, and we've never grown out of it. And wherever it is, we try and we push people, which is great, which is one of the reasons why we are excellent. At the same time, we don't help them to evolve.
I don't recall an overseas series where you played the first game and you played the last game. We run out of patience very quickly, Ash. Whether it's injury or non-injury, I'm saying non-injury. You will not get a fifer every time you turn your arm over, especially overseas as a spinner. Nobody gets it. But then it's not just about country as a whole. It's just about the team reacting to a performance as well. That not playing the entire series, is that something that you feel obviously should happen now? Australia is next door.
No, honestly, if you ask me, Akash, I have not thought about it, because it's never crossed my mind about why. Like, let me put it this way: I'm not looking for anybody to look after me, right? I'm not looking outside to people saying, okay, look after me, because I've got this mindset imbibed in me right from the first game that I turned up for India, saying somebody is 50 or somebody is 20 or somebody is 2-4 or 3-4 are not the yardsticks that I will play my cricket on. Because tomorrow people should remember me saying, अरे अगर वो खेला था ना, वो every second third test match में वो कुछ match winning performance देता था. So I want people to remember me for that, and not necessarily remember me for something else like अरे वो पता है क्या, वो एक टेस्ट सीरीज पूरा नहीं खेला है. I don't want that. I want people to remember me for the kind of performances I dealt out and the kind of excellence I achieved, because I believe when they talk about spinners across eras, even now when they compare them, like Harbhajan Singh, Anil Kumble, that's more recent, like an Erapalli Prasanna, you know. I've heard stories where Erapalli Prasanna's ball, once it was flighted, it's never come down. It's just hung in the air, you know. Those are the sort of romanticism I attach spin bowling to, and I think because those people left such a legacy, it kind of inspired me to do what I've done today. But tomorrow, I'm sure there will be someone who's looking at me and saying, you know what, this is the legacy that he's left. I will cross this. And that's how humanity is built on, Akash. This is a larger scale, because I don't think anybody is permanent. I don't think anybody is a permanent great. There will be people who will supersede one. You know, I've seen Sachin Tendulkar, you know, mouth gaped, open, batting and say, oh my God, this is superhuman. And then I play with another cricketer called Virat Kohli, who comes up and he's left a lot of people, you know, with mouth open and as he's batting. So I personally think there will be people who will come and do great things in life, because that's how it is. Constantly human beings evolve and they get better at what they do. So everybody who's left a mark in the past is a reason why something will be great in the future.
Very successful people pay a price for their own success, Ash. So has that overshadowed your white ball success, or in any way actually like undermined it? Because your white ball numbers are very good, man.
All along in my life as a white ball bowler and as someone who understands the game, I think I do get the thought where people are saying, you know, wickets break the back of a batting lineup. Sure, it does, but I think I've always been selfless when it comes to, you know, bowling in terms of the white ball format, and I've pretty much bowled entirely in my life through the power play. And in power play, if I think wickets, I'm very often not letting my team down. I'm either bowling the power play or I'm bowling the death. I hardly bowl through the middle overs in my entire career, and it's never happened. It's not like I've come on the 7th over and, you know, gone on and finished beautifully by the 15th over. It's never happened. So. But I think that's what gave me what it gave, because I had the, you know, like they say, I had the himmat or the heart to, you know, take the ball and take on some really, really wonderful cricketers in the power play. I'm one of the best going around. And if they talk and put me on comparison with other people, and if I have to compete with other people, that's something I enjoy. And today there are other spinners who come in and who have done very well, Kuldeep and Chahal. Give credit to them, but I'm going to be always there. I'm not going down without a fight. And I believe as a cricketer in the white ball format, I've been extremely selfless in terms of how I've given it to the team, because one run lesser is one run easier to be scored, because the margins are so small, Akash, in the T20 format. You often get teams win by 5 to 10 runs. So if I can give 5 runs lesser or 1-6 lesser, I've done my job.
AXIP captain last season, before that. Your experience, your learnings, because somebody who's a very, very thinking cricketer that you are, you analyze well. and you had a team which was decent, and the team did fairly well to begin with, and then just petered away for some reason. What are your experiences and learnings from that stint as a captain of an IPL franchise?
I personally think Kings 11 is a wonderful team right now. There are a lot of puzzles that have been filled in. The jigsaw puzzle is being filled in very nicely. I think they are a wonderful team, and to build a franchise or a T20 team takes its time, Akash. My experience as a captain, I got a lot of strategies right. My people management skills are far better than what it was. I think that's one takeaway I took from the whole competition. And ever since I left the squad in 2019, I've become a better person at that. At least I understand people better than what I used to. To be able to understand things from their point of view and communicate accordingly is a very important skill set. I have acquired that. I've got richer from that. But for me, it was one of the greatest learnings I could have ever had. It is like somebody making me the captain and making me learn. So I learned a lot. I became richer, and I think I stand in a better space right now.
Can I call you a YouTuber?
No, I think you should call me. I think you should call me someone who's made use of time well. Every time somebody talks about me, they talk about me from the point that he speaks cricket all the time. He's not fun loving. He's always, people thought I'm serious, and that's when I realized, you know what, I like cricket, but I've got my own personality, and I should bring that out, and I'm having a lot of time on hand. I should put it to proper use, and people also can benefit if there is something to benefit out of it. So I am a very thought-provoking person, but at the same time, I love my humor and I love creativity. So I thought I'll put it to good use. And if I didn't do it, Akash, through the lockdown, I might have killed a few people, or someone might have killed me because I've got so much energy around me.
I see you actually as a future cricket, like a proper commentator, a very celebrated one at that, because these are the kind of skills you need, no? Is that where we'll see Ashwin like 5 years, about 10 years, 10, 15 years down the line, when your kids are grown up, they don't need you as much, you need them, because we'll always need our kids. So is that where I'll see you, or I'll see you as a coach? You have a coaching academy as well. Where will I see you actually?
Akash, I hope my kids need me all the time. That's first thing I hope. I hope they don't grow up at all. But besides that, I think I'm a person of varied interest, Akash. I don't think people quite know. I think they're just starting to know me. But I have so many interests in life. Even I feel from the very important phases of my life, from 20 to 30. I sometimes feel I've dedicated too much time on just one thing, which is the sport. So it's taken a lot of time. It's taken a lot of toll on everything. I've missed my parents dearly. I'm the only son. I've hardly connected with them for the last 10, 12 years. It's just starting to happen a lot more now. So I feel I will do a lot of things, or at least I want to do a lot of things.
Okay.
I don't know, Akash. Honestly, I don't know where I will be, but I want to explore a lot of things.
Thank you so much, Ash, for being here, and wish you all the best. Keep scaling bigger, greater heights, and keep entertaining us in your unique fashion.
Thank you so much, Akash. Thank you.
The sahi hai moment of the episode.
If you see a lot of people, they say, "Bhai, thoda mehnat karna hai, mehnat karo." It was not that sort, It was more like completely enjoying my trade, enjoying being a bowler, and I think that really paid off, because I didn't have any expectations out of what I was doing. I kind of enjoyed it.